Shalom, Maki. Kohaloyim La, Yahawah Bahashem Yahawashi, Bahashem Yahawashi. Shalom to the Yakim out there that's pushing the truth, that's laboring in the word, and that's pushing the gospel of the great kingdom that's soon to come. Shalom to the Yakwak that's listening in, that's remaining true to the faith and remaining faithful and submissive to their husbands and guiding their children. And shalom to the hopeful elect of the 12 tribes that scattered abroad throughout the four corners of the earth. Peace and blessings to you all. Barakatha. Now, I don't know. I can't call it. I can't call it. The Most High is moving right now, man. I tell you what. I'll tell you what. When it rains, it pours. When it rains, it pours. You people aren't even able to digest your Thanksgiving turkey. You people aren't even, y'all people are not even capable of digesting your turkey and your pork without something else without something else popping off. Oh man. Y'all was in the mode. Y'all was in the mode when it was New Year's Day. Y'all was in that mode. 3 days later, this character got clapped. This character got clapped. Boy, good old General Hassim Soleimani took his wings and just left here. Just left this planet, man. He's where he's at. Right after New Year's Day. Thanksgiving Day. The day after. We got this character. So let's find out what's going on here, man. Because the Most High is moving. I mean, this has been one hell of a year. This has been one hell of a year, man. One hell of a year. You know what I'm saying? The esteemed elder at the GMS camp, he coined this year 2020 the year of prophecy. 2020 the year of prophecy, and the Most High Spirit was working on that, man. When he called this the year of prophecy, boy, I'm at a loss for words right now, man, because the year's not even over yet. I mean, my God, we still got another month left, a whole another month left. I'm just laughing, man. You can't make this up. You can't make this up. If you don't read these scriptures, man, you're gonna be in the dark on what's happening. You are going to be in the dark with what's happening. So let's find out what's going on here. All right, so this was reported from CBS News. It says a scientist who allegedly led Iran's military nuclear program has been killed. Oh, and before we forget, of course, we can't forget what happened over in Lebanon. We can't forget that huge-ass explosion. We can't forget that, man. I mean, the Most High is just bringing all kinds of judgment. He's bringing all kinds of prophecies through here, man. The signs of the times is here and among us. It's here and it's among us. It says an Iranian scientist that Israel had alleged led the Islamic Republic's military nuclear program until its disbanding in the early 2000s, was killed in a targeted attack that saw gunmen use explosives and machine gun fire Friday, state television said. Iran's foreign minister alleged that the killing of I'm trying to say this. Fakhrizadeh. Okay. Mohsin Fakhrizadeh bore serious indications of an Israeli role, but did not elaborate. Slocky, it's hard for me to pronounce these names. Israel declined to immediately comment, though Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu once called out Fakhrizadeh in a news conference saying, "Remember that name." Oh, isn't that interesting? Let me read that again. It says, Israel declined to immediately comment, though Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu once called out Fakhrizadeh in a news conference saying, "Remember that name." Israel has long been suspected of carrying out a series of targeted killings of Iranian nuclear scientists nearly a decade ago. The killing risked further rising tensions across the Middle East, as just a year ago, Iran and the United States stood on the brink of war. It comes just as President-elect Joe Biden stands poised to be inaugurated in January and likely complicates his efforts to return America to the Iran nuclear deal. State television said Fakhrizadeh was attacked by armed terrorist elements. He died at a local hospital after doctors and paramedics could not revive him. The semi-official Fars news agency, believed to be close to the country's Revolutionary Guard, said the attack happened in Absard, a small city just east of the capital, Tehran. It said witnesses heard the sound of an explosion and then machine gun fire. The attack targeted a car that Fakhrizadeh was in, the agency had said. So others wounded, including Fakhrizadeh's bodyguard, also were taken to a local hospital, the agency said. State television on its website later published a photograph of security forces blocking off the road. Photos and videos shared online showed a Nissan sedan with bullet holes in the windshield and blood pooled on the road. No group immediately claimed responsibility for the attack. Of course they won't. However, Iranian media noted the interest that Netanyahu had previously shown in Fakhrizadeh. Iranian Foreign Minister Mohammad Javad Zarif on Twitter also pointed a finger at Israel, claiming the killing to be an act of state terror. There's an interesting quote, an interesting saying that's both funny and is both serious. It says, I believe it goes, "I'll turn the other cheek, but be warned, I only have two cheeks." You see, let's get into these scriptures, man. Let's get into these scriptures. And this is the perfect scripture. This is the perfect scripture that embodies that saying. I'm gonna say that again. It says, it goes like this. It says, "I'll turn the other cheek, but be warned, I only have two cheeks." I can't remember where that saying came from, but it stuck with me. And so that's what leads me to this scripture right here. This is Isaiah chapter 33, verse 1. It says, "Woe to thee that spoilest, and thou wast not spoiled, and dealest treacherously, and they dealt not treacherously with thee." Iran hasn't dealt treacherously with Israel, the state of Israel. Iran has not dealt treacherously with the state of Israel. Let's continue. It says, "When thou shalt cease to spoil, thou shalt be spoiled. And when thou shalt make an end to deal treacherously, they shall deal treacherously with thee." And this is directly linked to to Babylon, aka America. This is directly linked to America. Why? Because America is so-called Israel's greatest ally. So they bear the brunt of this as well. They bear the brunt of this as well. How do we know that? Well, let's find out. This is from the Times of Israel, published just a few days ago. It says Israel and United States are planning a covert ops against Iran as Trump's term ends, report says. So they were getting together talking about some covert ops. So a covert operation against Iran while Trump's term is still in place. While Trump's term is still in place, they gathering talking about let's get a covert op against Iran. And that was just a few days ago, and here we are today. You see what happens here? It says security officials said seeking to increase pressure on Tehran over its nuclear program ahead of Biden presidency, believing Iran won't take military action with Trump in office. So they believe that Iran's not going to take military action as long as Trump is in office. Boy, I'll tell you what, man. Let me read this again. It says, this is Isaiah chapter 33, verse 1. It says, "Woe to thee that spoilest, and thou wast not spoiled, and dealest treacherously, and they dealt not treacherously with thee. When thou shalt cease to spoil, thou shalt be spoiled. And when thou shalt make an end to deal treacherously, they shall deal treacherously with thee." See what I'm saying? This is exactly why these devils got to be taken out. They got to be taken out of here, man. Let's go to Sirach. Let's go to the book of Sirach, chapter 10. Sirach chapter 10, verse 8. Let's see. It says, "Because of unrighteous dealings, injuries, and riches got by deceit, the kingdom is translated from one people to another." This is exactly why the world needs to be under new management. This is why the earth needs to be under the righteous management of the Israelites. Because when it's under this oppressive system, all it leads to is destruction and death. That's all it leads to. You see what I'm saying? So let's get into this article. Look at these Edomites, man. Get down, boy. Get down. Because y'all about to be taken down. This is Israel. Israel and the United States are planning to increase pressure on Iran with covert operations and economic sanctions during U.S. President Donald Trump's final weeks in office. And this is why they're moving so fast, man. Think about that. According to a Friday Israeli TV report, their assessment is that Tehran will not respond militarily before the end of its term, the report said. The report on Channel 13 News did not elaborate. Among other covert operations against Iran's rogue nuclear program, Israel and the United States were reportedly responsible for infiltrating the Stuxnet computer virus to sabotage parts of Iran's nuclear enrichment process a decade ago, and for more recent sabotage attacks on Iranian nuclear facilities. Israel's Mossad spy agency spirited out a vast trove of Iranian documentation regarding the regime's nuclear program. Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu revealed in 2018. Israel has also been linked in reports to the killings of several Iranian nuclear scientists, and last week, the New York Times reported that Israeli agents killed Al-Qaeda's number 2 Abu Muhammad al-Masiri in Tehran in August at the behest of the United States. Let's go here. Because what do you think is happening? What do you think is happening worldwide? Because the world is looking at this. You have to understand that. The world is looking at this. And more importantly, Iran's allies are looking at this. And who's Iran's allies? All you gotta do is just look at the coast. All you gotta do is look at the signatories on the JCPOA. Look at the signatories. What nation signed that deal of the Iran nuclear deal? Who signed it? We got Russia. We got China. You don't even need to say no more, man. We got the big heavy hitter juggernauts that's back in Iran right now. And they're looking at this. Japan's looking at this like, dude, what the hell y'all doing? What the hell y'all doing? Let's see what happens. Let's see what the Most High is about to bring to pass right now, man. Because we got prophecy playing out. This is Obadiah chapter 1, verse 7. It says, all the men of thy confederacy have brought thee even to the border. The men that were at peace with thee have deceived thee and prevailed against thee. They that eat thy bread have laid a wound under thee. There is none understanding in him. There is none understanding in him. The Most High is about to lay the spirit on these different national leaders to turn on America. It's about to happen. It's about to happen. All right, so let's get, let's see. You know what? I'm going to hold off on that. Let's continue with this article. It says on Monday, the New York Times reported U.S. President Donald Trump convened top advisors to ask if he had options to strike the Iranian nuclear sites during his last weeks in office, but was dissuaded with warnings it could lead to a wider conflict. Trump convened top officials a day after the United Nations nuclear watchdog said Iran had stockpiled more than 12 times more enriched uranium than the 2015 nuclear deal allows. The Times reported, citing four current and former U.S. officials, and we can't forget that the previous director of the IAEA was assassinated as well. Let me see if I can find that. Yeah. So if you can remember, this happened last year. Back in the summer of 2019, it said that chief of the United Nations nuclear watchdog Amano passes away. Says the International Atomic Energy Agency, of the IAEA, said on Monday that its Director General Yukiya Amano has passed away. Right? This was the chief of the IAEA. Says the Secretariat of the International Atomic Energy Agency regrets to inform with deepest sadness of the passing away of Director General Yukiya Amano, said the United Nations nuclear watchdog in a statement. The 72-year-old Japanese man has been the agency's chief since 2009. During his three tenures, the IAEA verified and monitored Iran's implementation of the 2015 nuclear agreement, the JCPOA, which the United States had quit unilaterally last year, meaning which was in 2018, by the way. During the past decade, the agency delivered concrete results to achieve the objective of atoms for peace and development. Amano was quoted by the agency's statement as saying, "The IAEA did not specify the time and cause of Amano's death, noting that he had previously sent a resignation letter to the agency." All right, diplomatic sources told Xinhua on Wednesday that Amano had planned to step down in March of 2020 for health reasons. His latest mandate was due to run until 2021. Let's check this out. Here this was just a few days ago, just a few days after that incident. Iran's sources say IAEA chief was assassinated by Israel, by the state of Israel. Said chief of the International Atomic Energy Agency, Yukiya Amano. An Iranian source said that chief of the International Atomic Energy Agency, Yukiya Amano, was assassinated by Israel in collaboration with the United States. Tasnim news agency reported on Wednesday. Amano was eliminated for refusing to give in to raise new allegations against Iran's nuclear program, the source told Tasnim. The Japanese Secretary General of the IAEA was standing against the U.S. and Israeli, quote, heavy pressures to open a false case against Iran on the nuclear issue, the source said. Amano was under pressure to accuse Iran of violation of the 2015 nuclear deal, known as the JCPOA, contrary to all technical and legal reports by the IAEA that confirmed Iran's compliance with the JCPOA, it added. The head of the global nuclear watchdog had died at the age of 72, reports said on Monday. He had led the IAEA since 2009 and was due to step down in March because of an unspecified illness. Right? So what I'm doing is I'm connecting dots. That's what you do. You connect dots in these situations, man, because it don't add up. It don't add up. You know what I'm saying? That these would be unrelated to each other. And the way they happen, you know what I'm saying? The way they keep happening. So let's go back to the article. All right, back to the article. It says, according to the same Channel 13 report Friday, the Israel Defense Forces, or IDF, and Mossad are preparing for President-elect Joe Biden's expected return to negotiations with Iran over the 2015 nuclear deal, which Biden has vowed to re-enter after taking office. The IDF and Mossad aim to work with the U.S. to secure a more favorable deal with Iran, the report said. Biden is expected to take a more conciliatory approach to Iran than Trump, who has levied punishing sanctions against Tehran and killed its top general in January. Israeli officials believe Iran is fearful of American retaliation to any provocation while Trump is in office, leaving Jerusalem and the current administration a window to prepare for the Biden presidency, the report said. This is the problem. They are not factoring in prophecy. So let's go here. Let's go to 2nd Esdras. Let's go to 2nd Esdras. The 15th chapter. 15th chapter. I've had enough of this article, man. Here's another article that I'll get into, but before that, Let's hit 2nd Esdras chapter 15, verse 28. And it says, behold, an horrible vision, and the appearance thereof from the east, where the nations of the dragons of Arabia shall come out with many chariots, meaning vehicles, and the multitude of them shall be carried as the wind upon earth, that all they which hear them may fear and tremble. Also the Carmanians, raging in wrath, shall go forth as the wild boars of the wood. Let's look that word up. All right, so let's look this word up. Carmanians or Carmonians. Carmanians. 2nd Esdras chapter 15 verse 30, it says, it makes reference to the Carmonians or Carmanians. These were a people from Carmania, a fertile province of ancient Persia, situated on the north shore of the Persian Gulf. Okay, it's the mountainous region separated by a desert from Persis, southwest part of Iran or Persia in the west. All right, that's all I need. So let's go back to that other article. So before we get this article, let's read this verse in its entirety. 2nd Esdras chapter 15 verse 30. As a matter of fact, I'm going to start back at 28. It says, behold, an horrible vision, and the appearance thereof from the east, where the nations of the dragons of Arabia shall come out with many chariots. We're talking about these Arabians. We're talking about these Arabs. We're talking about Ishmael, bro. We're talking about Ishmael. They about to get busy, man. They shall come out with many chariots, and the multitude of them shall be carried as the wind upon the earth, that all they which hear them may fear and tremble. These jokers talking about Iran's afraid. Iran's afraid of confrontation with America. Iran's just terrified. You know what I'm saying? They don't want to step up to Trump. They don't want the smoke. They don't want the they talking like these niggas really don't want the smoke. They talking like these jokers really don't want the smoke, man. You see what I'm saying? They put a straight up bounty. They put a straight up bounty on Trump's head. You see what I'm saying? They put a bounty on Trump's head. I can't remember what that bounty was. But I was counting that bounty and I was thinking to myself, okay, I've seen the movie John Wick. And they put that bounty on John Wick for, I believe it was what? 4 million? Right? So, no, it was 2 million. Excuse me. It was 2 million, I believe it was. They gave Donald Trump a bounty that was 4 times that amount. 4 times that amount. Thinking back, I actually remember that. Yeah, that was funny. Let's get this. It says, where the nations of the dragons of Arabia shall come out with many chariots, and the multitude of them shall be carried as the wind upon earth, that all they which hear them may fear and tremble. Also the Carmanians, raging in wrath, shall go forth as the wild boar of the wood, and with great power shall they come, and join battle with them, and shall waste a portion of the land of the Assyrians. And then shall the dragons have the upper hand, remembering their nature. You think these jokers ain't going to remember what they were? They're going to remember. They were once the dragons of the desert. They were once the great Persians. They were once the great warriors that took some. They went and did some shit. They're going to remember that. It says, and then shall the dragons have the upper hand, remembering their nature. And if they shall turn themselves, conspiring together in great power to persecute them. To persecute who? To persecute who? To persecute who? These Edomites. These Edomites. Let's go to Revelations, man. It's only a matter of time. It's only a matter of time, man. This is Revelations chapter 16, verse 12. It says, and the sixth angel poured out his vial upon the great river Euphrates, and the water thereof was dried up, that the way of the kings of the east might be prepared. What did I just read? What did I just read in 2nd Esdras, man? It said, behold, an horrible vision, and the appearance thereof from the east. All right, so let's get to this article, man. It says, Israel behind the hit on architect of Iranian nuclear weapons program. 3 intelligence officials tell the paper that Jerusalem is responsible for the assassination of Mohsen Fakhrizadeh, as Iran vows severe revenge for this killing. Look at that. They laid it bloody, man. They laid it bloody. It says Israel was responsible for Friday's assassination of Iran's top nuclear scientist, Mohsen Fakhrizadeh, the New York Times reported, citing 3 unnamed intelligence officials. The report came after several Iranian officials pointed the finger at the Jewish state for the hit on the man Israel and Western intelligence officials have identified as the leading figure in Tehran's nuclear weapons program. The Times report said it was not clear how much Washington knew ahead of the attack, though it noted that Israel and the United States work closely on issues pertaining to Iran. An unnamed Israeli official told Khan News Friday that without Fakhrizadeh, it will be very hard for Iran to advance its military nuclear program. Iran has never admitted to having a nuclear weapons program, though Israel and Western nations dismiss such denials. And here we are, where we're talking about Israel. We're talking about the state of Israel, right? Now it's understood that the state of Israel has well over 200 nukes. They have well over 200 nuclear weapons. As a matter of fact, they got caught trying to sell some nuclear weapons to South Africa. Don't fancy that. But officially, they deny the fact that they have nuclear weapons. Let's continue. It says, though Iran ostensibly froze all nuclear development as part of its 2015 deal with world powers, which, of course, I've read that article stating that they had concrete evidence proving that Iran has been good boys. They have been good little boys, right? Paying heed to what this nuclear deal allows them to do, right? So it says, though Iran ostensibly froze all nuclear development as part of its 2015 deal with world powers, Israel has said Fakhrizadeh secretly continued to work on arms development and would have been a key figure in any Iranian push for the bomb, but they have zero credible evidence to prove that. But evidence, man. That's just sad. It says the killing of Fakhrizadeh is the latest in the series of assassinations of nuclear scientists in Iran in recent years that the Islamic Republic has blamed on Israel. Israeli TV coverage noted that Friday's attack was far more complex than any of those previous incidents. In Washington, an official told CNN the administration was closely following the assassination, which would be a big deal. A big deal. That's enough of that. These jokers. These jokers, man. They've got a lot to pay. They've got a lot to pay for, man. And it's going to be hell to pay real soon. Alright, so I don't want to stretch this out any further. Alright, that's the latest in the news, man, of prophecy. And I'm going to just leave it at that. I'm going to say, call halal, Yahawah Bahashem Yahawashi, Bahashem Yahawadah. Shalom to the Akim out there that's pushing the truth, that's laboring in the word, and that's pushing the gospel of the great kingdom that's soon to come. Shalom to the Akwaf that's listening in, that's remaining true to the faith and remaining faithful and submissive to their husbands and guiding their children. And shalom to the hopeful elect of the 12 tribes that scattered abroad throughout the four corners of the earth. Peace and blessings to you all. Barakatah. Shalom.